that was, let's see, if there was an equivalent to that training, the equivalent would be, have either of you seen The Matrix, the movie?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's the equivalent of being Neo and taking the red pill for finance.
Okay. Wow.
Like, that's just the best way I can capture it. And the funny thing is, it had the theme to go along with it, too. The training was called Hacking the Financial Matrix, and it was nothing short of that experience. And so the best way I could kind of describe the impact of it is that everything you think that is important about finance is wrong.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And
wow.
to sort of just give you two really big ideas, kind of covering kind of like a really wide range of topics and ideas and materials. Even if you make money, it doesn't mean you're winning the game. So, like, consider the whole idea of, like, let's say investing. And, you know, we've actually taken formal training in investing so that we know what we need to do to stay safe and to limit our risk and everything like that. But what this training essentially identified and provided was that even if you're making money, if you're not doing it in the right way, you're losing the game. And so think about, like, any board game you've ever played, and what if you did all that work and the game's over and you're finished and you count up everything you have at the end, and then someone looks at you and tells you that you lost, even though you won, you know, you gathered this, you know, nest egg together. And so the whole idea with that was, okay, well, what do we need to focus on? What's actually more important than the money piece? And what's more important than the money piece is what's called purchasing power. And the reason purchasing power is important is even if you're making money, if you're not able to afford the same things that you could previously, that means you're falling behind. And so it's almost like if you're running a race, and let's say, you know, the finish line is your retirement, and you start running, and then you start realizing the finish line is moving too, and it's moving away from you. And if you don't figure out that you got to start either running faster or faster than the rate at which the finish line is moving away from you, that you'll never get there. That realization is actually super important to understand the problem, because if you never knew that was a problem and you think you made it to the finish line and you look up and the finish line isn't where you are anymore, it's further down the road, that's the problem. So the whole experience was literally just taking what the big challenges are and what folks are kind of dealing with but don't even necessarily know it, and kind of revealing it to everybody. So that was like kind of the first really big lesson with that. And then everything kind of just, it's like peeling an onion as far as just taking layer after layer after layer off. And then we just had some just very, very interesting discussions with that. The other big idea that I'll share as well is I was under the impression that people who were wealthy, it was all mindset. So in other words, people who are wealthy will always be wealthy because they know what they need to do in order to stay wealthy. Right? So that's what I was on a journey towards, to try to understand what those things were and get myself into that bucket. What I didn't realize is everyone always talks about this idea of a redistribution of wealth, where it's just like take from the rich and give to the poor. Right? And so what this training also provided was this idea that there's a transfer of wealth happening every single day. And it happens in regards to purchasing power. And believe it or not, the government is taking away your purchasing power.
How?
And most people don't even know it. And here's the thing. The government makes money in two ways. The first way everybody knows about, because taxes. Every time there's tax season, everybody's like, man, the government wants some more. The government wants some more. The other way that most folks don't recognize and understand is something called inflation. The government actually makes money through inflation. And so what it does is it literally takes your purchasing power and it puts it into the government's pockets. And so to give you like a prime example, appreciation is, let's say, a game where you think you're winning because your valuables are going up in value, and you're getting excited and jumping up and down, and meanwhile the government is literally sucking the purchasing power from your pockets because that's how it makes the money. So again, I know I'm sort of like hitting some high level stuff, but literally that's kind of like the big picture, and then everything else kind of went to the math behind it of how to make it work in your favor. And so I'll kind of leave it at that because I could just go on and on about it, and I don't want to go too deep into it. But yeah, very, very impactful, very sort of kind of powerful training from that sense. If you ever get a chance to sign up and go for the Finance Academy, for the Hack in the Matrix, you will definitely not be disappointed.
How long a class was this? Like a couple days? Or
3 days. And it's very, very well done, because what George does, unlike most folks that I've seen, he doesn't move at Robin's pace, because Robin's like a fire hose, and she'll just kind of just throw it at you. And you absorb what you can, and what you don't, come back again, at a later time for. What George does is he literally makes sure nobody has any questions. So in other words, like, he'll take a question, and he'll take like what might seem like the most trivial question, and he will explain it till that person understands it, and then everyone else understands it. So he'll literally like take that pace, because he's like, I don't want to move too fast, and I don't want to lose anybody. And so for that reason, like, his classes aren't huge. I think we might have had like maybe 80 to 100 people in his class, but he was able to move very solidly within that process. So yeah.
And he still covered everything?
Oh, he hit everything. He hit everything. And that's the thing. He didn't move quickly, but the big idea was he wanted everyone to understand the concepts, because he's got a training program online that teaches you how to put strategies in place so that you essentially become the bank. But what the course itself was to kind of just show you why this stuff's important, to show you like what's happening in the world around you, because if you don't understand what that is, you're not going to have an appreciation for all the stuff that he has in the program online.
And what's the name of it again, the Financial Matrix?
It's spelled FYNANC. And if you look, it's pronounced finance. If you search that, you'll find information about George Antone. Antone spelled Antone. And just folks, I mean, like, I went to that program and I didn't really know too much of him, but yeah, after that, I mean, that guy's a legend already in my book. But the whole idea, he's teaching financial hackers. That's essentially how he kind of describes it.
Wow.
But yeah, so that was, again, very impactful. Definitely highly recommend it, and I'll definitely be putting some more content out about that.